Hey guys, this is another contest that I'm submitting to, and this is for Vincru12000, who just hit 150 subs. He's over that now, but great channel. Check him out. Knows a lot about comics. I will link his channel in the description below. And yeah, I've been putting off this video for a little while now, and it's time to nut up and shut up. Let's do this. First off, the first thing in this contest is favorite books, essentially, and I've got a little stack here, and these are books that changed my opinion of reading. First one I got here is the first volume of Walking Dead. This is called Days Gone By, and if you're not reading Walking Dead, then I don't know what to tell you. This is such a great series. Far better than the TV show. It starts out with a guy named Rick Grimes. He's a sheriff, and he gets shot in the line of duty. He wakes up out of a coma, and no one's in the hospital, and he finds the dead are walking. And it's about him trying to find his family. And that's what the first volume is about. And this was at a time where I was at a low in comics, and this is how I started really getting back into it. Yeah, and the next one changed my opinion. This is my only one with a main, superhero, for the most part. This is Batman Year One. Frank Miller does a fantastic job with this. Telling Batman's first year as being Batman. It's so perfect. It reeks of classic in a good way. It's just something that it really got me into the Dark Knight, along with the New 52 helped. But this really got me to read more into Batman and stuff. Yeah. Next is a trilogy. Now, for Star Wars, there's so many, like the Thrawn trilogy or Shadows of the Empire, but I wanted to rule out ones that were not adaptations of actual novels, and I chose the Infinities trilogy. So the first Infinity, they did this with the original trilogy, which was change something slightly, and then reap the consequences, essentially. So in Infinities: A New Hope, when Luke shoots the torpedo into the Death Star, it's a dud. So after that, all hell breaks loose. Yavin 4 is destroyed. Leia becomes a Sith. Yeah. Han and Luke really don't get along anymore. So Luke goes to Dagobah and ends up being trained by Yoda, and then they go and try to destroy the Death Star again on Coruscant. It's a really good one. I think this came out before Attack of the Clones. Infinity's Empire Strikes Back. This was one of the first comics I ever picked up, and it was in a discount shop in my local town. And Infinity's Empire Strikes Back is, what if Luke died on Hoth? And what happens after that? Just fascinating. I bought this, actually, this is the first print. I bought this at Universal City Walk in Los Angeles. Really fun trip to Universal Studios. And the last one is Infinity's Return of the Jedi. Some notable things in this. C-3PO gets destroyed. Han Solo goes blind. At one point, it's very, very interesting. I won't spoil the end with what happens to Vader, but it's pretty awesome. Then we get to the book that changed my opinion on superheroes forever, and that was Watchmen. Now, I bought this, so I could read it on a flight back from Disneyland, and this was before the movie had come out, and I read this. I've read this thing to death. I used to read this all the time in my freshman high school English class instead of doing my work, because I'm I'm a great student. But in this, an ex-superhero named the Comedian is thrown out a window, and no one seems to care except for another superhero by the name of Rorschach, and it's about this team called the Watchmen and what they used to do and how they're coping, and just it's really fascinating story, and the killer is not who you would expect it to be, and it's very, very fascinating. It ends differently than the movie, though, so if you haven't read the book, read the book. Alan Moore opened my eyes to actually looking at who's actually writing a comic. So, yeah. And then finally, last but not least, is actually the second story. There's two stories in this. The first one's pretty good. It's like Punisher Goes to Russia. This is the Punisher Max series, my favorite of the Punisher types of series. This was when Garth Ennis wrote it. The second story in this is the one I'm talking about, and that's called Up is Down, Black is White. Now, in this, a couple people want to get back at the Punisher, and so they dig up his wife and kids, and they urinate on their corpses, and videotape it and send it to a news station so the Punisher can see it. So the Punisher goes on this rampage, just murdering hundreds of gang members a night and leaving one alive to tell the police this message of bury my family. And it's just a really fascinating story, and it's just it's upsetting, it's awesome, it's graphic. Alan Moore may put the novel in graphic novel, but Garth Ennis, I swear, he puts the graphic in a graphic novel. There's some really disturbing things in this that aren't even played for like laughs. Like if it was a bad writer, it would be played for it'd be funny. But in this, it's just disturbing, and it adds depth to the characters. Yeah. So that's for the first part. The second part is my name on here. Stupid Chainsaw Productions. That is my joke film company. I created it. My first video on here I had made a couple years prior to this channel's creation. I'm not going to talk about the JMA91794 channel. I've already said that before. That was a friend called me JMA for a while, and the numbers of my birthday. But this channel is Stupid Chainsaw Productions. I was sitting in my video editing class with my buddy Nick, who's now off in the military, and I'm like, I'm going to call my film company Stupid Chainsaw Productions. Because I've always... It was based off of... there's this company, I think they produce Robot Chicken, and they were called Stupid Monkey. And then with like the Star Wars Robot Chicken, the monkey accidentally cut its arm off and it's just standing there holding the lightsaber, its arms on the floor. And I thought that was the funniest thing I had ever seen when I saw that. It's kind of morbid now, but you know, teenage boys. But my thing with it's just stuck. Stupid Chainsaw Productions. So what I did was I took a picture of Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead 2 when he has the chainsaw hand. He's gonna go cut up that tree thing at the end. He's holding the chainsaw like this, and then I just photoshopped in like basic text, red text, Stupid Chainsaw Productions, and that's stuck. So I made a couple music videos and I put that at the end and stuff. But I mean, if I ever made that a company, I'd have to. Evil Dead 2 is no longer public domain, if it ever was, so I'd have to change the logo. But yeah, Stupid Chainsaw Productions is stuck after that. And finally, last but not least, a couple of channels that I recommend that don't get a lot of attention. And the first one I want to talk about is a channel called Django Fett. Now, Django Fett, just reviews all sorts of Star Wars comics. He does other videos, like talks about video games and stuff. But when it comes to like Star Wars comics, he knows his stuff, and it's cool to watch someone who knows stuff like I do. Because for the longest time, until I joined this community, I was this huge Star Wars geek, and I just knew so much about the Star Wars expanded universe. And then when I come on here, it's great to watch someone who also knows a lot. And then if I wanted to, we could debate things. Yeah. And my second channel is my good buddy Devin, at Devin's Comics. And Devin, although he's been doing videos a little longer than I have since I'm new to the community, he took a extended break because of personal problems, and he just recently came back. And I took him to our local comic shop, and we bought comics together. And it's great to see him back. He's the other half when I do D&J reviews. He's the D. That sounded wrong, but you get what I mean. But it's great. He's a great guy. He and I played D&D together and other RPGs. And we talked last night. I was just talking to him before I made this video. And yeah, for these channels, I'm going to put the links in the description down below. I hope this isn't too late, since this is the day it was due. But let's hope I can get it in. Anyway, guys, have a nice day.